Okay, welcome back. This is Wayne Madsen with the Wayne Madsen Report Saturday Roundup, coming to you live tonight from Washington, D.C. And let's go to the phones. Renee's calling in from North Carolina. Renee, are you on the line?
Yes. I think there's something you should know about. I don't know if it's anything or not. I just spotted it on the Intel Hub. Apparently a lot of service people are really kind of hacked off about it. It's at the intelhub.com, and apparently the 82nd Airborne has been put on alert for domestic deployment for the Department of Homeland Security. There's about a 7-minute video, and like I said, I don't know if this is anything or not, but I'd feel better if somebody like you looked into it, okay?
Well, that's certainly we see a lot of use. The establishment of the Northern Command after 9/11 opened a door for this. Posse Comitatus, which was instituted after Reconstruction in the South, has basically been thrown out of the window. We have troops now involved in all kinds of domestic law enforcement functions, and it doesn't come as any surprise that we hear mobilizations of troops for internal duties. I mean, we were talking about we've got troops on the border doing what's essentially a law enforcement job down on the border with Mexico. We've got National Guard involved in all sorts of domestic law enforcement functions. It's because Posse Comitatus, which is the law of the land, was basically abrogated by fiat by the Bush administration, and it's being upheld, of course, by its evil twin, the Obama administration.
Well, look, particularly since there's one thing on this 7-minute video that this young man says, particularly, I'm trying to look out for you here, Wayne, since you're in D.C. He says he knows some people in D.C. that got some emails that were telling them they needed to check and get their, bug-out bags ready in case they had to leave quickly or whatever. Like I said, I don't know if this is anything or not, but particularly since you're in D.C., you might want to look at this 7-minute little tape.
Let me tell you something I've noticed here over the last several weeks. Now, I've always seen these Army people in their desert camouflage uniforms on public transportation, on the subway, on the buses, but I've seen an increase in these people, and some of them are coming out of hotels and what looks to be rental apartments rented by the Pentagon. I've seen much more of it here than I have in the past. So, something is going on. These people are not. They may be weekend warriors doing their active duty training, but I just see so many more of them. And they're not, and I don't see them on weekends. There has been a dramatic increase in these people. I mean, what in the world are they doing wearing combat uniforms in Washington, D.C., especially desert BDUs? I mean, this isn't Baghdad. This isn't. This is the capital of the United States. I remember when Jimmy Carter.
Concrete. They probably need, instead of, like you said, desert camouflage, they probably need something that looks like the side of a concrete building if they really want to hide.
Exactly. I remember when President Carter was president, he actually limited people wearing uniforms in Washington to 1 day a week. Now, they had to wear civilian clothes going to their jobs, and then many of them would change. Some of them would change over to uniforms, but suit and ties for men and comparable clothing for women was the rule of the day. And the reason President Carter said that, he said, when people come to see their capital, they don't want to see it look like it's some sort of a military reservation.
Really?
They want to.
You look like you're flying into one of those third world countries.
Exactly, and that was Carter's thinking. And of course, the military was reviled by it. But look, he was a commander of a submarine in the Navy, and I think a lot of what he did. Now we look back on it, he was absolutely correct in what he was doing. But he was, of course, engineered out of office by old man Bush and Bill Casey in the October surprise. But anyway,
I'd like you to check it out, like I said, because I'd like somebody with your kind of expertise to look into this to see if it's anything or not. And also on this website, I'm sure you know who Richard Fine is. They finally let him out of jail.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I think he got out on September 17th. He's the former prosecutor in the Justice Department. I think he has a doctorate in constitutional law, and he was he was exposing the systemic court corruption and payoffs, and the judge put him in jail for like 18 months. Well, he's out now, and he's talking, and we need to get him on as many shows to blab as much as he can, because I know that the courts are corrupt. I've experienced it personally, and I've never been arrested. I mean, you have to go through courts and you have a family member die, you got to put up with probate court. I mean, so you don't have to be a criminal to have to deal with these criminal lawyers. And the thing is, so we finally have a highly credible and respected person on the inside starting to sing about how corrupt our court system is, and I'd like him to have as much exposure as he can, because if somebody like me does it, you're just looked at like you're a kook.
Right,
so
right.
We need him to talk.
Well, let me plug my friend, his website, which is justiceintegrityproject.org, and that's what he's battling against, the corruption in the Justice Department and on the benches, because these corrupt lawyers, eventually what happens to them? They become judges. And they're no less corrupt when they're sitting on the bench than they are when they're prosecutors, believe you me.
JusticeIntegrityProject.com, because I'm going to...
.org.
Okay.
.org. Yes. Okay, Renee, thanks for calling in, and we'll be right back with your phone calls right after this break. This is Wayne Madsen from Washington.